Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. I am the Budgeting SD, and today I'm going to be doing kind of a lie one video actually. I am going to be doing an unstuffing of all of my expenses over my last paycheck, so that when we do my next stuffing, everything is accounted for there, and show you guys how I keep track of my spending, especially being a cashless cash stuffer and not actually, needing to take physical cash to purchase things. And then once that cash is gone, you can see that cash is gone and how much cash is gone. With digital budgeting, cashless cash stuffing, you really need to be on top of your expenses, tracking them and pulling them from your envelopes. So that is one thing I'm going to be doing today. And then I am going to also be stuffing my expenses for my first paycheck, or no, my second paycheck of February actually, just because those are a set amount typically per paycheck. So I go ahead and stuff that, and then I get paid bi-weekly. So next week, once I know what I'll be making on my paycheck, because my income is variable, I will then subtract what I put towards my expenses and stuff everything else into my sinking fund and savings. And then I also, in today's video, wanted to show you my monthly recap for January, just to kind of show you guys also how you can keep track after the fact of how you did in a given month. Not just for me, I track 2 weeks worth of expenses at a time, because that's again how my pay periods work, since I get paid bi-weekly. But if you get paid weekly, you could do this weekly, but at least once a month I do recommend making sure you track everything and take a look kind of just at the month in a glance in a way. So let's just go ahead and get into the unstuffing here. This, I think, is going to be a pretty exciting unstuffing, and next paycheck's unstuffing should be a little exciting as well. I forgot to erase my bills tracker here. Usually I cross these off with you guys, but in this paycheck we are covering the first 5 of my expenses of the month here. I have the dates listed of when all these come out. I don't necessarily pull these in the right paychecks every single time. What I do is just do the first half and the first unstuffing, second half and the second unstuffing, mainly just for purposes of my videos having enough stuff to unstuff each time in each paycheck. So but yeah, I do have the dates of when each of these things actually come out of my account. So yeah, we won't be crossing those off today, but I will explain what we are pulling as we go through. Alright, so going back to insurance here, my first paycheck of the month is when my car insurance comes out, so we are pulling out $77 for that. And let me actually, before I do that, cross it off here on my iPad, and we're just pulling a 50. I think I'm actually going to pull the 20 and these 2 10s, just to condense a little bit. A 5 and then a 2. Alright, and then insurance still has 1, 20, 45, 7, and 8. Okay, I guess I just spoiled something. Well, yeah, I think I was going to talk about it in this video actually though anyways. But as you can see, my car payment envelope here that I purchased back when I purchased all these envelopes is in my binder. And that is because I did just recently lease a car finally. So you will see, not in this unstuffing, but in my next unstuffing, me kind of going through that a little bit more in depth with you guys. So we won't be messing with this envelope today, but yeah, kind of a sneak peek into the future there. I honestly forgot I did that already. But student debt, all of this is coming out for my Sallie Mae loan, due on the 13th. It should be $277. So 1, 2, 20, 40, 50, 65, 72, 4, 6, and 7. 277. From there, so all that is coming out. Have you guys been doing lately? I feel like I've been doing really good lately. Okay, and then my phone bill comes out on this paycheck as well, which is this whole $40 that's in here, and that's right there. So those 220s are coming out. And for memberships, I believe it's just, yes, my yoga membership comes out on the 1st for my local yoga studio to go there 2 times a week. I get a slightly discounted rate that way. So that is 84. I need to pull 20, 40, 60, 80, and 82 and 84. And memberships now, or still has 20, 45, 50, and 52. I'll cross that off. All right, and then for subscriptions, I believe, yes, the only one that comes out today is my YouTube Premium. It comes out on the 4th for $14. So that's what we're pulling today. 2 5s and 2 2s. And now we have 5 and 7 left in subscriptions. So those are all my fixed expenses, aka my bills. Then we go on to my variable expenses here. For these, I call them variable expenses. I tend to budget the same amount for them every time unless I know that I'm going to overspend in one category. But I call them variable expenses because less because how much I budget for them, more because of how much I spend on them. Because, you know, things with like gas, groceries, and then like eating, my spending envelope is like just my personal allowance kind of basically. So it's for anything, eating out, coffee out, personal care items, anything I want can come out of there. But you know, you don't always spend exactly the same amount on these things. So gas, for instance, I budgeted 25, spent 29.66. So we're just going to pull out that full 25, and I'll show you kind of what I do with my variable expenses here in a minute. If you are new here, groceries usually just gets 200. I budgeted 250 this time because I did know I was going to overspend in this category, and I did spend 245.42. So I underspent actually a little bit from that 250. And then spending always gets 100, and I spent 100 exactly actually because I ended up making my tip one time I ate out equal to where knew I would have exactly 0 left. Okay, so what I tend to do with my variable expenses here, or what it is, I like to add them all together so that if one's slightly off, they can balance each other out. As you can see here, for instance, I was over by $4.66 in gas, but I had $4.58 left in groceries, so they almost completely balanced each other out. I was only negative 8 cents, but we are actually going to get back into the positive here in a minute with my sinking funds, which I will get to next. But that is it for this binder. And I believe all the sinking funds we need are in my short-term sinking funds binder. Okay, so we will start. I think the first one we're going to pull from is clothing. So I bought a really inexpensive coat. Yeah, it's not the best thing ever, but I just needed like a plain black coat. That was kind of a little dressier, less practical, if you will. So I just got it for really inexpensive at Walmart. So that actually came out to $24.61. I like to pull even amounts only for my sinking funds. So I'm going to pull out that additional 39 cents that will be left over in my bank account after paying my credit card off. Because if you're new here, again, I put all my expenses on my credit cards, pay them off. So that is technically going to get added, for instance, to that -8 cents. And I've done that a couple times this paycheck, and that's how we end up at that $3.50 down there. But for now, I'm just going to cross that off to acknowledge that. But yes, so, and then what we will pull out of here is a 25. So a 20 and a 5, and it's left with 50 and 60. All right, let's see. I think household is next. This is for any sort of household items. So what I needed to buy was some toilet paper. That was $9.03. So I pulled out again the 97 cents that was left over to put towards my cushion. But we're just going to pull out the 10. And it's left with 5. And miscellaneous is up here. I purchased some skincare that came out to $122.78. And then again, I'm going to pull out the $2.22 that was left over to make that an even $125 that I am pulling from here today. So 100. Okay, and then we're going to need to pull 40. And then that would mean putting back a 10 and a 5. Oops. All right, and now miscellaneous, we're left with 1, 2, 50, 70, 85. 285 still in there. And then pamper, last but not least. Oh, and I didn't mark off my YouTube premium there. I made 2 transactions for my pamper sinking fund this paycheck. Usually I only do max 1 per paycheck for this, but I did get another massage that came out to $120, so that's coming from here. And then I also decided to get a facial, and that was $150. That's coming out of here as well, so that is $270 total. So we're going to pull out 2 100s, a 50, and then these 2 20s, and then we are only left, or no, we're leaving a 20. 2035 is what we are left with in here. All right. I will mark that off. And then we have unstuffed everything that I wanted to unstuff. And then what we will do next is go in and stuff this money into what I was doing before was having it go into my cushion sinking fund. Now what I will be doing is adding it to my savings envelope, because I am doing this $500 savings challenge, which is linked, and everything else in this video is linked down below, by the way. I'm going to cross off a 3 on here, and you'll see again it is $3.50. I do rounding. I know usually 50 you'd round up actually to 4, but I'm going to round it down just to be safe. And I'm going to cross off this 3 right there. And I think what I want to actually do, because I know that the more bills, the more fun this is going to be to condense, but we still have a couple times of stuffing this, and there's a lot of bills in here right now. So I kind of feel like I almost want to condense this in a way, because I've got a lot of ones in here. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, put that down for a 10, and then we're going to grab back 2, and 3 to put back in here. So now savings has 20, 40, 50, 60, 65, 70, 2, and 3. 73 and here. And we have all year to do this challenge, so yes, that is that. Done. Okay, and then what I'm going to do before we actually get into the stuffing is count these bills up here and make sure we have the right amount. This, if I did my math correctly, it should be 1,294 after we restuffed the $3 that we underspent. So let's give it a count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 859. Okay, we're not going to do that this time around. So 900, 20, 40, 60, 80, 1,000, 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 20, 40, 60, 70, 80, 95, 200, 1,250, 1,255, 65, 75, 1,275, 77, 79, 81, 83, 85, 87, 89, 91, 92, 3, and 94. 1,094, 1,294 is correct. So now that I have these bills all unstuffed, we are just going to use them, hopefully having the right denominations, and stuff our expenses for our next paycheck. So I'll be right back. Okay, so here's my budget for my expenses for my second paycheck of February. You can see down here that I already kind of counted that 3 as coming out of my cushion, going into my savings, because that equals out to 0 essentially, because we already technically stuffed that money. So I want to note that here, but it doesn't affect what we're stuffing today for my expenses, which is $925. So we will go back into my expenses and savings binder and start back with my fixed expenses again. Okay, so housing is getting $200 today, and it now has 1, 2, 3, 400. I do stay with family, so that is all I pay per month in like rent and utilities. Insurance gets the combined total of my health insurance, well, half of my health insurance and half of my car insurance. So again, this is where maybe you'll see, if you've been paying any attention and watching me, that my car insurance did go up a little bit, and that's because of the new car. So it barely went up though, which I was like so excited about because I was afraid it was going to go up super high. The total I am stuffing between these two today is 191. So that's 1, 50, 70, 90, and a 1. Okay, so now insurance has 1, 2, 50, 70, 90, 310, 335, 337, 8, and 9. 339 in there. Okay, car payment is not getting stuffed again, like I said, yet today. Student debt, though, is getting 134 for my Sallie Mae loan. That did go down slightly. I basically took the amount extra I had to add to my car insurance and took that away from that because I'm already paying like well above my minimum for this loan. So yeah, I just took a couple dollars away. But now that has 1, 20, 30, 2, and 4 only, since we just unstuffed that one and paid it. Okay, phone bill is getting 20 today. Memberships is getting 42 plus 5, which is 47. For my yoga membership and Planet Fitness gym membership. So now in here we have 20, 40, 60, 85, 95, 97, and 99. And subscriptions is getting 8 today, 7 for my YouTube Premium, and $1 for iCloud storage I have for my devices. 5, 10, 12, 14, 15 in there. Okay, and then moving along to my variable expenses. Gas is getting its usual 25. Everything is getting its usual today because I don't foresee myself overspending in any of these categories. Groceries is getting 200, at least not by a lot. And spending is also getting 100. All right, you guys. So that concludes the unstuffing and stuffing for today. But again, I just want to quickly go through with you on my iPad here my January recap. I did take the time to do this all out myself, but you can buy like pre-made templates for this on Etsy and stuff like that if you were interested. But what I decided to do, for me as somebody with a variable income, I was just curious to see how much I actually made in income for the month compared to what I like budgeted or what I personally perceived as my minimum that I wanted to make to meet my bare minimum goals for the year. So I added up all my income, which was $1,518 for my first full-time job paycheck, and $1,189 from the second paycheck. I made $324 in cash tips over the month. Cash back from using my credit cards, I earned $19, and interest on my high yield savings account, I earned $16. And then I got $100 that I just called miscellaneous. This was for dog sitting for my aunt. She gave me $100 for that. So all in all, that is a total income of $3,166 as far as actual like money coming in. The reason this would have been higher, but the reason it wasn't is because that second paycheck, you can see, is quite a bit lower than the first one. That is because my work deducted some money for a dermaplane certification class that I'm going to do through them, and they deducted that money for that all at once. So that was $395 that came out of this paycheck. I had stuffed $375 in my business sinking fund to go towards that when the time came. So I used that $375 to stuff and include in this so that, you know, it wouldn't be significantly lower. And then I also had $56 that came out of my cushion over this month. So I believe 51 of that was from rollover from December, before I was doing any savings challenges for the new year. And then $5 of that came from, again, rollover, but I believe it was from like the first paycheck of the month. So when you add those in, this is my grand total of what I used to stuff this month. But again, it wasn't technically all new money coming in. The only new money coming in was the $3,166, but the total amount I stuffed this month, or used to stuff, was $3,597, which what I had budgeted for was only $2,734. So that means I went over my goal by $863, which is amazing. I mean, granted, my minimums I made pretty low just out of fear of the worst, basically, because I knew I was gonna make more than that this month. regardless, so that is the monthly recap on my income. Okay, and then hopefully you guys can see this all right. I wonder if I actually, okay, maybe this view is better for you guys. Okay, and then what I did is I took each major category and of course each of the subcategories basically, and I did a little table here of how much I budgeted for that category, how much I actually put into that category, how much or less than what I budgeted did I actually put towards that category, and then what percentage of my income for this month was that. For my expenses, I just grouped all my bills together because why not? And because I knew for bills and debt that they were going to be, the budgeted and actual were going to be exactly the same. So it was $823 and $211 respectively for bills and debt. That's what I actually put towards that. For bills, that was 23% of my income, and debt, that was 6% of my income. And then for my variable expenses, gas, groceries, and spending. For gas, I budgeted $50. I actually ended up spending $45. So I was actually under by $5, which is good. Not huge, but yeah, and that was just 1% of my income, which is great. Groceries, I budgeted $400. I spent $382, so that was actually $18 under budget. And groceries was 11% of my income. And then spending, I budgeted $200. I did overspend in that category by $15, but overall that was just 6% of my income for this month, or my total stuffing for this month. So in total, what I actually put towards my expenses this month were not $1,684, but $1,676, which is $8 under, and all of that altogether was 47% of my income, which is under 50%, which I think is fabulous. For just my savings categories for January, for my rainy day, aka emergency savings, I budgeted $150, and I actually stuffed $300. I do plan on doubling this year. But again, when I was making my minimum budgets, I was just being overly cautious. So I did overstuff this by $150, and the $300 I added to this was 8% of my income for this month. Whereas for savings, which is just my $500 savings challenge, to go to my Roth IRA at the end of the year, I budgeted $40, and I actually put $46 towards that. So it was 6 over, and that was only 1% of my income. So instead of $190, I actually put $346 towards savings this month, $156 over the goal, and then that total was 9% of my income. And I did do like a grand total for expenses and savings, just out of curiosity, and that came to a little over $2,000 over budget and about 56% of my income. And then for my sinking funds, I divided this up actually by my long-term sinking funds and my short-term sinking funds, but then I did do a grand total at the bottom. So for annual bills, business, and car, all those were exactly the same as they budgeted. I didn't, for these guys, break them down, each sinking fund as a percentage of my income. I just felt like it was going to be a little too much. So I just did the grand total for long-term, short-term, and total for those. But yeah, I didn't go over budget in a lot of these, as you can see, because a lot of these just didn't need to get over the minimum. But home, I did budget $300, put $315 in there, so it was $15 over there. Not very much, but still something. Travel, I had only budgeted $100, again being very conservative. I put $500 towards that, so that was $400 over the goal. So instead of $560 to my long-term sinking funds, I put $975, $415 over at 27% of my income. And then same thing for my short-term. All of them got the same, except for Miscellaneous got $200 more, which is mainly to go to my bike that I hope to buy soon. And then Pamper got $100 more to advance on that, because I knew I was going to get a massage and a facial soon that you saw in the sun stuffing. So I wanted to make sure I had enough money in there for that. So instead of putting 300, I actually put 600 in here, 300 over for 17% of my income. Overall for sinking funds, I budgeted $860, stuffed $1,575, which is $715 over the main biggest place I put the overage. And my sinking funds all together were 44% of my income this month. I know I really lowballed it on my budgeted amounts for this, but to me it just makes it exciting to see how much more I was able to stuff in here. Alright, you guys, that concludes this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. The next video I will be putting out will be my stuffing for my sinking funds and savings for my second paycheck of February. That one is going to be very exciting, so please stay tuned for that. Please like the video if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you haven't already. We are getting closer again to 500 subscribers, so if you could help me reach that goal. I'm kind of thinking about doing a giveaway for 500, just because that would help me out so much of my ultimate goal of getting to at least 1,000 subscribers. So please subscribe and leave a comment down below of what you would like for that giveaway. I'm kind of thinking maybe like an Etsy gift card. I do have some envelopes that are not currently in use that I could see myself giving away in the future as well. I'm just trying to think if maybe I want to save that for my 1,000 subscriber giveaway. But yeah, let me know what your guys' thoughts are. But with all that being said, I hope you have a great rest of your day and your week until I see you again. And I will see you guys later.